Hello, everyone. So it's Stefan here from the ESFP channel in the MBTI Lounge. So today we're going to do the MBTI for beginners, where to start. So I think a lot of people are interested about the MBTI and they don't know exactly what information is useful. They know about the test, 16 personalities type, but I think there's a bit more that I think a lot of people need to understand. So we're going to do a short guide for the people new to the MBTI and what information is important to learn about. Okay, so what we're going to explore together is the four-letter code, what it represents, and some misunderstandings, the cognitive functions, simple introductions to the cognitive functions, how to find your true type, moving beyond the test, and how you can verify what functions you have based on your own observations or other people's observations. Common beginner mistakes. So busting myths that take up that interfere with newcomers. I think mainly the most popular one is probably introverts and extroverts. I think that's probably the most misunderstood part of the MBTI. And finally, how to keep learning. So practical next steps to deepen your MBTI understanding. Okay, so the four-letter code. Can I make myself small? No. Okay. The four-letter code explains. So MBTI consists of four letters that work together like ingredients in a recipe. Um, so the first letter is either E or I. So that basically signifies if you're extrovert or introvert. And so the MBTI definition of extrovert and introvert is actually different to people's understanding of extrovert and introverts. I think a lot of people think, oh, if you're outgoing or if you're very social, that you're naturally an extrovert, and you can't, or if you're very quiet and by to yourself, that you are an introvert. But that's not true. It really comes out in how you communicate. So an extrovert will normally initiate extra points in the conversation, whereas an introvert will respond to the topic. So they won't deviate from, or they kind of struggle to initiate new topics. So the second letter is S or N. So you will see the second letter can only be those two. They're based on how you take in information. So these are the perception functions. So this is how you view reality. So all of the 16 types have a different way how they view reality, some overlapping. So if you're someone like me, that's a concrete type, which is ESFP. I'm going to view reality in a different way to intuitive, like an ENTP that has the N in their second letter. So S is more aware about what concrete actions you can take, how much you can do in a day, or you're not really aware about the future. You kind of give little weight into abstraction, whereas the intuitives, which are the N types, they tend to be more abstract and aware about possibilities, and they try to push on the edge of what they can make possible. Whereas a sensing type pushes on the edge of what actions they can take or what concrete things that they can do. Okay, so there's a subtle difference with S and N. Third one is T or F. So this is the thinking and feeling functions. There's a lot of misunderstanding here where if you have an F in your name, that makes you emotional or you're a feeling type. That's not exactly true. Okay, or if you have a T type, you're you're logical. No, that's not true. You might actually be more emotional. The lettering system is more based on the cognitive function stacks. So where the cognitive functions for the eight cognitive functions stack in for your MBTI type. So it's more of a naming convention. So T or F is basically what's going to be your first function or your second function. And so this is in combined with the J or P, which represents which function is the first out of your top two functions that is extroverted. So an ESTJ, which is the J, is the judgment function. So that judgment function, which EST, the T function is the judgment function, that will be extroverted. And then because it's an ESTJ with the E, the first function is extroverted. Okay. So someone like a ISTJ, they also have extroverted thinking as one of their top two functions. But because they're introverted, they're ISTJ. So then that extroverted function is the second function. So it's a bit confusing, but the naming, it's more so the naming conventions. A lot of people kind of misunderstand and they think, oh, if I have this, the letters actually represent your personality type, when really it's more the cognitive functions and the naming conventions. Okay, so next part, the cognitive functions made simple. So think of the cognitive function as your like mind's preferred tools. Just like a carpenter reaches for specific tools for different jobs, your brain has a function stack it uses to process new information, make important decisions, solve complex problems, and navigate relationships. So your four-letter type determines which mental tools you use most naturally and what order. It also determines which tools you don't have as well. So there's two functions out of the eight cognitive functions that you don't use, rarely use, or like you struggle to use unless you're in uh, positions of stress or kind of against the wall. You feel like you're against the wall, you might use these two functions, and they tend to be disorderly. Okay, so the power of the cognitive functions. So these are the eight variants. So extroverted sensing, introverted sensing, extroverted intuition, extroverted feeling, introverted feeling, extroverted thinking, introverted thinking. So this is actually the 80-20 of the MBTI. Okay, so this is pretty much what majority of the time you want to understand when you dive into the MBTI is actually the cognitive functions. So if you talk to anyone about the MBTI and they don't mention cognitive functions, chances are they don't actually know much about the MBTI. They know about personality types and they might learn about it for the fun aspect that talking about personality, that's or like describing how you are, and like they want to figure out which type is this portrays this quality, which type is the coolest, or which type is the loudest. That's all fun, but when it comes down to the truth, you really need to know about the cognitive functions. That is 80-20. I cannot stress this enough that you have to know these functions for you to actually have a deeper understanding of the MBTI. Okay, so me, that's an ESFP. So my highest function is extroverted sensing. Next one is introverted feeling, extroverted thinking, and then introverted intuition. So knowing that I'm an extroverted sensing hero, that pretty much portrays how I view the world. It's very short attention span, very in the moment, quick reactions, very fast as well, but can struggle to know where to focus. Okay, so let's move on. The function stack in action. So there's actually eight functions, but I normally just put the four just to make it simple. So the first one is your dominant function, which me, like I said before, is extroverted sensing. The auxiliary function, the parent function is your backup that balances your dominant function. So this one tends to be a more responsible one, which is kind of the point where you're the function that you're willing to take the most heat from by being controversial. So someone like a Kanye West, where he purposely says what he thinks, that's his auxiliary function, which is introverted thinking. Tertiary function, so that's kind of your child function. This is kind of where everyone's kind of really stupid and where they kind of push their responsibility onto everyone else. So it's kind of where childish responsibility, where you kind of expect everyone else to deal with your child function. And majority of people just kind of wait or try to endure or try to manipulate context for as long as they can until they get away with it. So this is kind of where you kind of find most people making most of their excuses. The inferior function, that's kind of your weakest spot, where you're kind of sensitive or you're kind of worried to use the most because you kind of it can get you in situations where you kind of can you can find yourself in like a worse position in life if you use it wrong, and you naturally know this, but when you actually aspire and you just continuously use it very fast, you can actually make a huge amount of impact. And it's really important that people actually learn how to aspire with their inferior function. Okay, so finding your real type. Online tests are just a starting point. They're not that reliable. I normally say taking a test in the MBTI is kind of like taking a test for your citizenship. Like if everyone in Australia, where I'm from, got tested, whether they're Australian or not, and they got quizzed on a lot of Australian facts, I think a lot of people will actually fail. It's kind of the same with the MBTI, where the test kind of quizzes you about your type, but you don't actually understand yourself, or like some questions are very vague. So the test, the starting point, I think majority of people that are watching this or get into the MBTI, they will find it through the test. True type discovery requires a more thoughtful approach and that considers your authentic patterns over time. So you probably need to talk to someone that's in the field for a longer period or has actually learned or took the time to learn how to type people, because you can actually figure out people's type by how they communicate, even how they express themselves, even like the formatting of like how they push out music. There's a lot of similarities between types. So there's a lot of ways that people can figure or deduce your type. It's difficult because it's quite new and there's a lot of variables with 8 cognitive functions. So multiple assessments, take several tests, look for consistent patterns. So when I took the test, I knew I was a SP because I was very in the moment, but I got ISTP, and that was actually wrong. I actually ended up being an ESFP. So I knew I was a SP, which I used the test for, but I think in hindsight, I probably wouldn't have trusted the test as much as I did. Watch a few YouTubers. I personally recommend C.S. Joseph, Mongolian Mindset. There's a few others at the end of the video that I will recommend. Self-reflection, consider your natural preferences. Real life evidence. Observe your actual behavior patterns, energy drains, and what feels authentic over months, not days. Common beginner mistakes to avoid. So this is the fourth part. This test said I'm an ENFP, so that's final. Yeah, like me, I took a test and I got told I was an ISTP. I ended up being an ESFP. So tests can be wrong or sometimes influenced by your own mood or what you want to be correct. I think I purposely answered the test because I thought I was an ISTP beforehand. Your type is more stable than that. Okay. Like I said at the start of the video, I'm introverted, so I must be shy and antisocial. Introverted is more about energy direction, not social skills. It's also about how you respond in conversations. So extrovert will, if you listen to extrovert, they'll naturally initiate more talking points. But there's also extroverts that tend to be a bit more quiet and more reserved around people. And likewise, there's introverts that tend to be more talkative. But when the discussion of what they're talking about, they tend to stay on topic. I'm a feeler, so I'm not logical. So feelers use logic constantly. That's not actually true. I might change that up. But like a lot of F types are actually more logical than the T types. So the FJs are all logical. So INFJs, ESFJs, ISFJs, they actually are more logical. It's just that because of their second function is, or the first function is a feeling function. That's why people think that they are actually emotional, but it's more the introverted function that dominates whether you're logical or emotional, um, or you express emotion. Because a lot of people think introverted feelers are emotional, but I actually think both types can be. Yeah, and so that can impact their decision making process. Okay, so your type is in a box. MBTI describes preferences, not abilities or limitations. So a lot of people use type as an excuse. I'm an INFP, I'm quiet, or I'm an ENTP, I'm meant to be controversial, I'm meant to say whatever I want, or I'm INFJ, I'm allowed to be excused. I'm just being honest. That's kind of a big thing. A lot of introverted thinkers in the community think that if they're just honest, that's actually good, but that's not actually true. There's a contradiction. Okay, if you're honest about lying, that's you're being honest about doing something bad, which is bad. Okay, so same thing with introverted feelers, where they say something that's good. That doesn't mean that it's the truth. So behavior and preference. So you might be extrovert at work, but prefer introversion. So, like I said, it comes out in the conversation. That's probably a more accurate way to decide if you're introverted or extroverted. Okay, so next steps for learning. A lot of people come to the MBTI, and then I think a lot of people like YouTube videos where um, this is how the 16 personality types act in this situation, or which personality type is dances the most, or which one is the most angriest. That's great and all, but I think if you want to get deep into science, you want to get more to the truth, which is more so the introverted thinkers. They tend to correct everyone because they know introverted thinking is more precise about what is true or what is known, whereas extroverted thinkers tend to be a bit more broad. So watch YouTubers like CS Joseph, very controversial. He's an ENTP. Um, in the community, not many people like him, but he does say a lot of truth. And I think if you just discard the parts that you disagree with, like the emotional side of what he thinks good and bad, I think you can watch him. Mongolian Mindset, who used to watch C.S. Joseph, he does a lot of typing, which what we call typing is kind of watching videos of celebrities and then explaining why they're this personality type. Redemptive Psych as well. He's an INFJ who's recently made some content. The ESFP channel, that's mine. So I might change the name, but I thought I'd make an ESFP channel because I am an ESFP and there's not many ESFPs talking about it. And Joyce Meng as well. Um, Secondary, join MBTI communities. So connect with other people of your type and share experiences, and you can discuss. So I have a community which I will probably link, which is the MBTI Lounge in school. Or if you're watching this from the MBTI Lounge already, so hello, hi, yep, you're already part of the group. There's Reddit communities, there's a CS Joseph Discord and school. So I plan to do um, typing of celebrities in my community. Right now I'm trying to learn editing as well, so I'm going to try and make the production quality of videos a bit better. Watch type interviews, that's what I do. So see how real people or different types think and express themselves in conversation. So I've done Beyonce, Rihanna, Justin Bieber. I think I've done Michael Jackson. So there's a few celebrities. So if you want to join my community and just recommend a few personality types, please do so. Okay, guys, thank you. If you want to keep growing your understanding, make it personal. Okay, real magic at MBT happens when you start noticing your patterns in daily life. Thank you guys all, and I'll see you guys in the next video.